Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So once you have your virtual brand ready, you start the ball rolling there so that way you can present as the professional you that you want to and design that for the organizations that you're going after. We now need to research. Where do we go to find the folks that we've talked about in the other sections? Where do we go to find the industries? How do we get this information together and extracted in a domain that we've spent no time in? And walking through the different research aspects, Billy, where would one start?
There's a lot of different places that people can start. The first two that I'll recommend as a cyber guy, first, Google's great. If you haven't just typed questions that you have into Google, you should try it. It's fantastic. But you can enhance your Google queries by just doing a little bit of research and reading on different syntax. And all syntax is different characters and different ways that you can type in searches into the Google search bar that makes your searches more precise. And this is an excellent way to really dive into what the internet has to offer on the subjects that you're interested in. The next one,
What would be sorry about that, but what would be an example?
An example might be if you're looking for military programs for companies, you can use different characters and different methods of entering that into the search bar to make that really just more precise and just shave down all the extraneous stuff that you might find. The next one is going to be LinkedIn searches. Honestly, this is probably going to be your most powerful tool in finding individuals who have information that you want at any specific point of the discovery funnel. For example, when I just found out that I was about to be medically removed from the military, I had no idea what I was doing. So the first thing that I did was I got my LinkedIn squared away, and then I went on LinkedIn, and one of the advanced search features is you can search for people based off of previous companies that they've worked at. And the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and the Army are all companies on LinkedIn. And so I searched people on LinkedIn that had been former members of all of those places. And since I was pretty sure at that point I wanted to work in tech, I used another feature, another search field, which is companies they work at now. And I looked for veterans in specific companies.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to them, and we'll talk about how you do that later. But I essentially was like, how do you transition out of the military? I have no idea what I'm doing. And they were like, hey, let's talk about it. And then I just kept using that advanced search feature to further and further narrow. Once I knew I wanted to be a consultant, I was looking for veterans at companies that did consulting in the specific type of consulting that I wanted. I just kept narrowing that search down to find very specific people that I knew would have information that I wanted.
And even on the standard search bar, you just go onto LinkedIn, and this is certainly directed at all of the more, you could say, white collar roles and those that are on LinkedIn. But even the search bar alone is really powerful. And you can just go Marines, Dallas, Microsoft. Inside the search bar, press enter, and hundreds of people will come up, and they will have those components in their profile. And then that's just a rich target list to work through. And so that's a fantastic mechanism of searching to find a new access point, one of these specialty access points.
Yeah. The next one is going to be, you can look at target lists of companies based off of industry. One way to do this, I talked about this in a previous block. I subscribe to venture capital newsletters on venture capital funds that invested in cybersecurity companies. So I wanted to know what the up-and-comers were, who was getting the money for cybersecurity. And so I used that as an avenue to do research on companies. And then I would go to LinkedIn, and then I would find people who worked for those companies to find out more about the company and the roles.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, other routes of doing this, you could use the Inc. 5000 list. You could look up top 50 companies in X. Another really interesting one and method of finding target lists of companies is you could go to index funds and mutual funds put together by different fund managers, a method of investing, and how they've clumped them together. And, an example here inside of technology, and I know we're focused on tech, but would be the ARK funds, the ARK investment funds. And so they have a handful of different funds that focus on biotech, advanced AI, on general technology, on 3D printing. And so you'd look at this investment vessel and it would have 50 companies that they think are going to be profitable inside of this mutual fund or index fund. And that's a really interesting way to say, like, I want to look at, green energy. Like, who is it? You go green energy index fund. And then what are the companies in that? And it's going to give you a list of those. So we just wanted to go through different mechanisms or ways to do research on categorizing companies that you haven't heard of because you've been focusing on your military career, and now it's time to focus on the next career.
And the next things that the next couple of items that we're going to talk about are people or organizations that you should be looking at to glean more information and more research. So the first thing you want to look at is the state of the industry that you're working in. For example, say you want to be, an aspiring DoorDash worker. You might want to first look at what the current state of mobile delivery is and whether or not that's a profitable place to be or a not so profitable place to be, because things could be happening that would negatively affect you if you went into that industry not knowing the large like rocks that exist there right now. And also, if you do that research, it makes you sound much more informed when you are engaging with individuals in that specific industry as well.
Yeah.
So the next one is going to be the organizations and groups that help people get into this specific industry. And this might be military organizations are great because they generally outplace or try to outplace people into a variety of different industries. So Hiring Our Heroes, which is a great organization, they outplace people to a variety of different industries and organizations, but they're a great group to follow because they're putting out information that's specific to veterans that can help veterans make that transition and find roles. And so try and find those organizations and groups, give them a follow. If they have a newsletter, sign up for it, and really use them as streams of information into your feed to help broaden your search.
Just another mechanism.
The next one is going to be key voices in the industry. And these can be people who are on YouTube, people who write in blogs, people who exist exclusively on LinkedIn. They can exist in a variety of different forms, podcasts, a lot of different things. Find them, subscribe to them, and really use them as another way of keeping your finger on the pulse of the industry that you're interested in. Again, the more you know about the industry, the more professional and informed you will sound when you talk to people. And also, it's just a great way to understand where is this industry heading and how can I position myself best for that specific role.
And a great kind of like tangential piece in the key people in the industry is the key organizations in the industry. I mean, organizations as far as coalitions of companies. And so an example could be space. Right? I know that there's two coalitions. There's the Coalition of Deep Space Exploration, and what these are lobbying organizations to lobby in Capitol Hill and on Capitol Hill to progress different space programs that the companies have. And so inside of this industry association, AIA, I think it's Aviation Industry Association, or the CDSE, like the Coalition District Exploration, there's the Commercial Space Flight, I think, Federation. Just inside of space. And they're going to be all these collections of businesses, and they're going to be writing papers on what's happening in the industry. And so pretty much every single industry will have some industry organization that will have a board and a collection of people that are influential in that space that gives you a target list of companies and a target list of people to begin to utilize as special access points.
And the final one that we're going to talk about is going to be, this is more a way of beginning to build out your network. And that's people that you have common ground with that exist in the industry that you are interested in. And again, using LinkedIn's advanced search features, this is so easy to do. But just make a list of things that you might have in common with someone. If you're a cop, find cops. If you are a firefighter, find firefighters. If you're a nurse, find nurses.
Yeah, if you grew up in Iowa, find people that graduated from the University of Iowa State or
Yep.
UNI,
Exactly.
right? Because you could say, even if you didn't go there,
Nope.
oh, I grew up a few hours away.
Yeah.
Isn't Iowa awesome? Like, corn,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Corn. Bush light.
these Bush Light and
Bush
corn.
light and corn.
Yeah, exactly. All you Iowa folks out there,
Yeah.
good stuff. But this can start to be creative with this.
Yeah.
Because people want to have commonality. If you can identify commonality, it's a great way in.
Yeah, and it's going to segue really well into our next section, but that wraps up different avenues that you can take in terms of researching the industry that you're interested in, companies that you might be interested in that are in that specific industry, possibly emerging roles or roles that currently exist in the industry, and then finally, people that you have specific commonality with, because they are going to be the ones that are going to give you the real personal takes on all of those things.